Alright, and we are live with a weekend edition of TNA Impact Review. I'm your host, Tony, with my co-host, as always, the bizarre one, Dave. How are you doing tonight, Dave?
Doing all right.
Good. Um, so let's just jump right into TNA Impact. We started off with a look back at last week when MVP's new group debuted, and Eric Young cost Bobby Roode the TNA World Title. We go backstage to get Roode's reaction to last week's loss. He says he doesn't care what he has to do. He's going to get another title shot at the TNA World Title, and he's going to make Eric Young pay. We go to the ring as MVP and company come out to the ring, and MVP says that he knew it would be an uphill battle the minute he got to TNA, but he brought in his family, the guys he drove around, crappy indies in Florida for $1 and a hot dog, yada yada yada. Samoa Joe and Low Key, the two new members, they're called the Beatdown Clan or the BDC. He then introduces a guy who is not a member. So Eric Young is not a member of the BDC. That's what we thought, but he is not a part of the group. He does end up coming down. Young comes out in a Bobby Roode T-shirt and a new haircut. MVP says this is the first thing they've seen eye to eye on, and he gives Young the floor. The crowd does chant "You sold out" chants. Let's see what else. He said the truth is a funny thing because gosh darn it, because MVP couldn't be in the ring together a month ago without trying to kill each other. But MVP helped his brother take his world title. He doesn't like that, but he respects it because he had a brother once that he would do anything for, Bobby Roode. When he was world champion, Roode was one of the first people that gave him a title shot and he beat Roode. When Roode got the title, though, where was Eric's title shot? Eric was in more main events in 2004 than anyone, and if anyone deserved it, it was Eric. I'm sorry, Dave?
Said 14.
Yeah. But maybe Roode was afraid Eric would beat him again because nobody knows better than that Eric is a world-class wrestler, a world-class man, and a world-class friend. But where was Roode's visit when Young was in the hospital defending him? He got a text message from Roode, and the text message told him the truth. Now he took the title from Roode, and he's going to take everything else too. MVP says he planted the seed in Young, and it's blossomed into a mighty Sequoia. I guess that's a beautiful flower, I'm guessing. And now he will introduce out TNA World Champion Bobby Lashley. Lashley's music plays, but the big guy doesn't come out. So MVP ends up announcing him again, and guess who comes out? It's Kurt Angle. Angle comes down to the ramp and says that MVP and his friends call themselves a family, but he sees a bunch of thugs and wants Young to know that Bobby Roode is going to kick his ass tonight. Angle says he stepped down and can no longer make matches, but he can make each and every one of them tap out. Samoa Joe hops out of the ring and gets right in Angle's face, pointing that he made Angle tap out. Angle knocks Joe out with the microphone, and security breaks them up, which then led them to facing each other in a one-on-one matchup to start Impact. I know that was a lot to take in, so what did you think about all that, Dave?
I mean, I don't really have too much bad things to say about it. I mean, Eric Young's promo, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, he's kind of using that as like cross between crazy and a little bit of jealousy, which is interesting. Which some people might not know this, but Eric Young was a heel before. He was the leader of World Elite. So, I mean, that was an awesome heel job, I thought, by Eric Young. And this is a totally different take on it. So I kind of like it.
I do like his intensity. I'm not going to judge his heel turn until I see more of it. But so far, so good. Yeah, first match, Angle versus Samoa Joe. I was actually surprised to see Samoa Joe end up getting the win, actually making Angle tap out. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think of
I
the
mean,
match itself?
I don't mind him winning because the way he won either. I don't mind that either because it's heels are supposed to cheat. I mean, that's kind of a lost art in wrestling today, it seems like, but heels are supposed to cheat to win matches.
Right. Yeah, so he ends up doing a low blow and catches Angle in the coquina clutch, forcing Angle to tap out.
Good
So,
match, though.
yeah, it was a good match. Um, uh, BDC wastes no time coming in and putting the boots to Angle until Bobby Roode comes out with a chair and chases him off. He and Eric Young stare down each other as we go to a commercial. Next, we're back, and Bobby Roode is sitting in his chair in the ring and says he's really trying to hold back his anger from last week, but things have gone too far. He agrees with the fans chanting that he got screwed, and he heard Eric Young explain why he threw away a 15-year friendship and cost him the TNA World Title. But every single word out of Young's mouth was nothing more than a bunch of, I guess, shit. Is probably what he said. Roode has been in this company for a long time, and this ring is his home, and he lives for professional wrestling, but they're in New York City, and tonight it's about payback, and he's going to make Young pay for what he's done. Um, I like how they're building the feud. I mean, too bad it's not like a title match feud.
Yeah,
But I
it would
mean,
be really good, I think. Yeah, I would agree with that. That'd be a really good feud.
yeah, but the feud's
If it was
good. We go to Josh and Taz as they put over how intense that main event. I'm sorry. They go
what?
they go over the mat. Josh and Taz. They put over how intense that main event is going to be, and then take us to clips of Mike Tenay's interview with Brodus Magnus that will air today or earlier today on Unlocked. Um, then we take a look back at what happened last week with Ethan Carter, Tyrus Spud, and Jeremy Borash. After that, we go backstage where Spud finds Borash and apologizes for what happened. And Borash says EC3 is an insane jackass, and one day he'll get what's coming to him. Next, we had the Revolution the Wolf in a pretty damn good tag team match. The only
So,
thing is, I hope they don't overplay these two guys going at each other or two tag teams because it will get played out. We see that all the time in WWE. Um, but yes, very good match. The Hardys end up winning. I'm gonna guess they're probably up and coming for the title shots for the tag titles.
yeah, I believe in the next few weeks, or at least a month away, but I think they're getting a title shot at that lockdown special they're doing.
Oh, okay, okay.
I would
Um,
assume that's what it is. I don't know. I haven't read any spoilers. The only thing I know is from what I would assume what everyone was talking about with Jeff Hardy this past week. So I would assume that's what it happened from. But
yeah, so Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy end up getting the win, which I mean I guess is kind of surprising. Not really. The Hardys are now the number one contenders to the TNA World Title, and they stare down with Storm and the Revolution.
I mean, how about that spot? Jeff Hardy was like, "Wow!" I mean,
Where
man,
he balanced on the ropes. That was good.
ran across the ropes and then he jumped on. I think he missed everybody, but
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of, but it was still good. It was still good.
yeah.
The only thing I don't like about next week is what they announced tonight or on Friday night, which is they're going to be a Feast or Fire is back. I really don't care for that too much.
Really, I kind of like it. I mean, especially for free TV, and you're gonna get guys who are we're gonna get title shots.
Yeah, but then you're going to see a guy get fired.
It's
So,
gonna
I
be
mean,
somebody who probably was gonna get fired anyway, or not is not really only there for like that night, you know.
yeah, I wonder who's going to be fired.
I mean, I can see it being a guy like Crazy Steve, who I think he's in the match too, where he gets fired. You know what I mean? Guys who aren't even being used.
What about, no, it won't be Tyrus.
You know, I look at it being like guys who guys who aren't really being used are probably done with
Well,
TNA
see,
anyway.
the funny thing is, I didn't see the interview, but they did show a clip of Magnus talking about how if he was a free agent, you know, he doesn't know. I mean, if TNA decided to let him go and become a free agent, that wouldn't bother him. That's what he said on the show. I mean,
Yeah, I seen the interview. Yeah, he did say that. And I think he just put out there like, I don't think honestly Magnus is going anywhere, but he is one of the
because
heard
he is in the feast or fired match with
him both, which I could even see Bram getting fired because there's other guys who aren't really crucial to. Well, he could be crucial, but guys who aren't crucial.
I actually really like Bram. I hope they don't do that to him. But
Out of all the guys I've seen on the picture, I think it's 12 guys. I could see it being Crazy Steve the one getting fired.
okay, fair enough. Next we have Kenny King and backstage asking MVP if he's talked to Bobby Lashley. MVP says he's the world champion, so they control the title again. Young comes up to them and says he took Roode's title, and tonight he's going to take everything else. Yeah, that was it. Next we got, I think, which was the stupid part of the show. You may have liked it, but I thought it was kind of stupid. Which was Eden Carter, Tyrus going backstage to the production control center and patches himself through Jeremy Borash. He says he could see everything. He could see everything here, and he saw when Borash said that he'll get his one day. But if Borash thinks he's tough, he'll challenge him to a match next week, and he'll give him 30 minutes to make a decision. Decision. If he doesn't, who knows what will happen. I don't know
why he's involved in the storyline.
Yeah, I think maybe because EC3's hurt. Maybe didn't he just have surgery?
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, maybe I think so. But I mean, the only thing I could see working out like this is Jeremy Borash joins with Ethan Carter to turn. This is all a setup to get Spud.
Or if they
the only thing I can see.
Or they bring someone in. They bring someone in.
To help there.
A new TNA guy that they bring in. Now Ethan Carter.
Like a Tommy Dreamer or something like that pops up.
Yeah, but I didn't like this segment because Borash. First off, we both know that Borash didn't know what he was saying. It was all pre-taped or whatever have you. I mean,
yeah.
I could be wrong. But fuck, Borash didn't even look like he was responding to what EC3 was saying. He was just making faces.
Yeah, so, I think they just told him to make these little expressions because we're gonna use this as a soundbite that's gonna play where he's like talking to your ear. I think that's all it was.
Yeah, and I didn't care for it.
Yeah. I was just saying, to me, it seems like a lot of the stuff we're seeing backstage is more like the stuff that's happened in Nashville. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the way Taz and Josh introduced the show, they were in the Nashville studio where they were over.
I don't like.
You didn't like? I actually didn't mind it.
I like their commentary, but I think you get more emotion and what's the word? A response from the commentators when you're there live, instead of in a studio. I don't know how they watched it or how they commentated it, but
I would assume played it either a few days, went in the studio and did it watched it a few days before Impact aired, and then they went on and did it like that.
Yeah, I don't mind Taz and Matthews. They are actually really better than Mike Tenay and Taz, way better. And I like Josh Matthews. He brings a new freshness to the commentary table, but I don't like it that I guess they're trying to save money. I'm assuming. I do not like it that they have them in a different studio. It reminded me of the WWE Network when they do a pre-show. They have them in the studios away. I didn't care for it. The commentary, other than that, the commentary was good. Commentary was good.
Yeah.
Maybe once they finally.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe they don't have room in that arena that they're in for a commentator. desk or whatever have you. Maybe once they find a legit home, maybe they can actually bring these guys to the arena, because it was just weird.
It had like auto commentary feel to it. You're like watching auto commentary on a DVD or something like that. And maybe they did do this a lot, I noticed, where they had split screens where you're seeing Taz and Josh talking as the match is going on, which I didn't mind that at all either. And it's kind of like you're seeing them do it like that, which you can see you're actually focusing on the announcers a little more too. And I did read somewhere where they're going to try and focus more on the announcers on the show too.
Okay.
With Taz and Josh. So they're more a part of the show, so you see them, you don't just hear them.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, granted, WWE does show their commentaries, and I think TNA could do the same. I don't understand why they have to have them in another city, other than maybe they were trying to cut costs.
The pre-show, they ain't got to worry about any, I guess, I don't know. I mean, it's cheaper. They probably tape it a couple weeks or a couple days before.
And another thing is, I didn't listen to Dixie on the podcast, but I did hear that she said that she prefers taped impacts over live impacts, which I just find so stupid.
Because it's probably cheaper.
It is probably cheaper, but I just find that so stupid and so dumb.
I mean, well, she's looking at it from a business standpoint too, with money-wise. If you're taping the show 3 shows in a week, and you're saving more money than you are.
Yeah, and another thing I didn't like was them, and we've touched on this before, of them showing clips of the show of next week. I absolutely hate that.
Oh, with the whole Bobby Roode and Bobby Lashley and MVP's brawl for next week?
Yeah, I mean, why would you show clips of what's going on next weekend?
To tease people, I guess, but sometimes they do it too much.
I understand that, but then you're making your show look I mean, if I'm an owner of a company, even if I know the show's pre-taped, I want to make the show look like it's live.
Yeah.
And then doing those pre-taped clips really screws it up for me. But, I mean, that's just nitpicking here or there. But let's get into the next match.
They're also on I'm sure, a lot smaller budget than they were. I mean, their money's a lot more tighter, so they made the guy
money around lately, re-signing all these guys. I mean, they re-signed Jeff Hardy.
Signed like 5-year deals or something like that. It's probably like either a month-to-month basis or at least a 6-month basis they're being signed to, and probably less money.
Right. But let's jump into this match. Bobby Roode versus Eric Young in an actual no DQ match where they actually used weapons or chairs or whatever have you. Because usually when you have those type of matches, that doesn't happen. But let's get back to the match where Eric Young gets the win. He power drives Roode onto a chair, which is pretty brutal. I mean, not brutal. It didn't look brutal, but that aspect of it is pretty brutal. Eric Young gets the win.
Well, too.
I'm sorry?
I said Roode sold it pretty well, too.
Yes. Young, let's see. MVP and the BDC come down to ringside, and MVP says he's sorry that Roode's going to take a little trip into the hospital, but tonight is a celebration because we have a new world champion. He tells Roode that someone may visit him in the hospital because he sure as hell didn't visit Eric Young. Next we had Austin Aries backstage. He says low-key gets his rematch tonight, but nobody here seems able to fight their own battles, but if the BDC backs him into a corner, he'll get real dangerous. Okay, whatever that means. We're backstage again, another backstage segment, a lot of backstage segments, where a cameraman finds Bobby Lashley and asks him for comments. Lashley walks into his dressing room without providing any. So we go back to the boring. So we go back to the. Hold on, I'm sorry. Roode and Young brawl through the crowd and down to ringside. Young is in control, pummeling Roode with the right hands and dumps him into the ring and throws a few chairs in as well. Is this going to lead into, I guess, a lockdown match between these two, or?
I think so, and I do like that they're showing Eric Young when they mentioned earlier that when Eric Young was the champion, he beat Roode. Roode didn't beat him, and they have Young beat him again, and not clean. I guess you call it clean because no one interfered and he used those weapons, so there was no DQ, so it worked. He beat him clean.
Next we got a backstage segment.
And he might not be.
Okay, go ahead.
Associated with the group, anytime they're out there.
Yeah, it's like he has their back. He has their back. They have their back, kind of thing.
That was kind of weird, but I think.
What was that?
I said it seems like he is in the group. I don't know why they said he's not a member of the family.
Yeah, I guess they want to.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Next we had. I don't understand what they're doing with Tessmacher and Robbie. I know they're dating in real life. I mean, I don't know what the point of this is. It's kind of pulling off their feud from the Amazing Race, saying that Robbie.
They're trying to do, which I don't know why, but they're trying to kind of do what the WE does with Total Divas. I think use a reality show to help kind of fuel the storyline.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess it works because they're doing a reality show together, so they were. And, hey, kudos for them. They actually almost won the damn thing, too, so, hey, good for them.
Yeah. Next, we had the Beautiful People against Taryn and Brooke. The Beautiful People, of course, win. Then, all of a sudden, Awesome Kong comes to the ring. She flattens both of Robbie E and whoever else, Bromans, I guess. Then plants Angelina with the implant buster. DJ Z gets into the ring and he gets it from Awesome Kong. Havoc ends up coming down to the ring, and of course security breaks them apart again. So I'm sure at lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, that would be... I want to see that match, actually. That's smart how they're doing it, too. They make you want to see it, and I do want to see it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good match. I don't really mind Havoc too much, and we know what we're going to get from Awesome Kong, so...
Yeah, I mean, she didn't really get a shot in the WE, which wasn't her fault, nor theirs. But, yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to see how they use, and they did re-sign her, so they did put it out this week that Awesome Kong is re-signed with TNA, so.
That should be interesting. Next we had EC3. He busts in on Borash backstage and asks if they're going to have a match next week. Borash says he's an announcer, not a wrestler, and EC3 says he's not. He's a man who has given his blood, sweat, and tears to this company for 13 years. Nobody came to help him last week because nobody respects him, and he tears Borash hat off, and asks why would they. Borash finally says he'll fight EC3 next week, and EC3 says challenge accepted. So it looks like EC3 versus Jeremy Borash. That's the main event.
If EC3 is still recovering, I think it'll be Titus who takes him on.
Right.
And then the only person I can even think who would save him would have to be like a veteran or a retired guy. You know, it would have to be someone. I mean, doubt they could do this, but this would be a cool spot to. I'm not sure if he's even re-signed to them or if he's talking to him. But if Bully Ray were to come back and help, that would be a cool spot to bring him in.
Right. I mean, I agree, but I mean, odds are it probably won't happen. But I think that would.
Then you should take someone like who works for you, which I believe Tommy Dreamer works for them, and Al Snow and all them. Take one of those guys and bring them out.
Mhm.
So Tommy Dreamer would be perfect because he's from New York, so that'd be even more perfect.
Right. Next, we go backstage where James Storm introduces his new latest disciple. Uh, what's his name? Koya? Kai? What?
Yeah, something like that is weird. I assume he's going to be in the Feast or Fire match.
Yeah, he said Koya was lost until he found the Revolution, and now Storm is going to unleash him on TNA. We'll see about that. Next, main event time. We had Low Key taking on Austin Aries in a rematch from last week for the X Division Championship, which we did see a new X Division champion crowned. Low Key ends up winning. Of course,
Sure, you weren't a fan of.
no, not really. I mean, you give the man the title and then he loses it immediately. What the hell? He, of course, loses because of the BDC getting involved into the match. Low Key takes advantage of it and ends up winning. Good match. I mean, damn good match.
Yeah. I mean, these two. I mean, if this is the case, which I assume we're going to get a match where it's going to be him and Aries again, because, like with the Hardys and Wolves, they've had repetitive matches over and over. It seems like we're going to see more of these two because he lost his title, so he should get a rematch.
Right. Which will probably be either, lockdown or next couple of weeks or so. But
yeah, which I like the fact that they use the X Division Championship match as the main event. I like that.
yeah.
Because focused on the X Division.
Yeah, even the announcers, I think they went to Taz and Josh and they mentioned more about the X Division. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's good for a change. Next we go to, I guess, this is the true main event, I guess.
Yeah.
Talking segment, which was MVP says, we all know what the Beatdown Clan is all about. They're in the driver's seat and the world title has come home. So without further ado, they announced Bobby Lashley. Lashley comes down to the ring, high-fiving the fans, which he didn't do 2 weeks ago. MVP says Lashley looks like a champion, not like Roode, and he made Lashley look like this. He made Lashley the champion, and he tells the fans to respect him. The TNA World Title belongs to the Beatdown Clan, and Lashley ends up interrupting. He says that the title doesn't belong to anyone in the Beatdown Clan. He's a champ, and the title belongs to him. MVP says he has that title because they put it on him, and this is what it's all. It's what it's all about because they're family. Lashley says that's what they're about, not him. He's not about this, and he's not having anything to do with it. MVP grabs Lashley's arm and said that's not how it works because he's a founding member of the BDC, but Lashley says to get his hands off of him. MVP says he wouldn't take that from anyone else, but he has a soft spot because Lashley took him under his wing, and that other company is under his wing in that other company, WWE. And he'll accept that we're walking different paths. So if that's the way it's going to be, he doesn't want to leave under hostile terms. He ends up hugging Lashley, kisses him on the cheek, and then they go down to beating Bobby Lashley. Nobody came to help, which I thought was kind of weird.
Which I know, because they were destroying people, remember?
Well, they took out Roode. Yes, they took out Roode.
They were taking out everybody when they were all Kenny King and MVP and Lashley. They were destroying everybody, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I can understand why nobody would come and help. I guess you make a good point there. Lashley gets beat down. MVP ends up grabbing his belt and taking it with him. And that was it. That was the end of Impact. Looks like the BDC are the number one group right now in TNA. They're the hottest faction in TNA right now. But yeah, pretty good faction, I think. Pretty good episode. Some things, yeah, sure they could have changed or fixed on, but I enjoyed the show. Next week looks like it's going to be pretty good too, with the Feast or Fire, and the backlash of the beatdown Lashley got. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, I do want to see where are we. I wouldn't mind seeing either match: Bobby Roode versus MVP for the title, or Bobby Lashley versus MVP. You know, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that at all for a TNA World Title match.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna eventually. You would think gonna happen. Where these two guys will
I can see that.
end up facing each other, but
I think MVP wins the title before too long. I mean, I wouldn't mind it either. See him as the world champion. I'd be interested to see how that works. But it seems like it's happening.
Right now, MVP is. I mean, MVP right now is the top heel in TNA in my opinion. So give him the title. I think it could work. But I mean,
I guess he would be considered the top heel because he's run the top faction. I guess you could say that. Yeah, it's the only faction, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder how that would work out with Eric Young. Would he be given a title shot from MVP?
I don't know. It looks like right now Eric Young is more about revenge than a title shot. He's more about getting revenge on Roode for not, helping.
But really, right now in TNA, they only have 3 guys who are if you want to, I guess you'd call Angle and Joe top guys for the world title. But you don't have that many people you're really elevating for the world title right now. I mean, you have one guy who's in the X division, which is awesome. You have another guy who's tag teaming again, and that's Jeff Hardy. I mean, all honestly, you should put the world title on your best guy you have. And I hate to say it, it probably is Jeff Hardy.
No, definitely.
He would be the smartest guy to be your world champion right now because he's the most recognizable guy in TNA.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, it does seem like that they're trying to give the Hardys the TNA tag titles, and so that's where they're going with that because they've never been TNA tag champions, which I don't know really what that means, but whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, all in all, the Impact was good. Next week we got some things to go to.
I think we would agree that, I mean, yes, Joe and Angle was good, even Caval or Loki and Aries, but I think the Wolves and Hardys, as they seem to do, just stole the show. They had a great tag match.
Yeah. I agree. Very much so. But, yeah, that's going to pretty much wrap up the video today. I would look for more of these TNA Impacts more on the weekend. We were going to try to do it during the day. Things didn't work out, so we did it at night. Seemed to work out okay. No SmackDown video this week, but we will do this one. We will do one next Thursday because it's a pretty huge SmackDown. So we will get into that on Thursday, and then we'll be back Monday night with another Monday Night Raw review with a special. I think it's like a reunion show. They're bringing back some old Kevin Nash, X-Pac, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Hart, HBK, just to name a few. So that should be a good episode, I would assume. So
might not be a lot of wrestling, probably be a lot of segments.
Yeah, so it's the go-home show before the Royal Rumble. So should be I think it's the go-home show before the Royal Rumble, am I right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so next week will be a pretty busy day with us doing videos. I would assume Monday Night Raw review, Thursday Night SmackDown review, and then probably Saturday we'll do our preview of Royal Rumble, our predictions, and then we'll also do the TNA Impact review. So, yeah, a busy week next week for us doing videos, but looking forward to it, and hopefully Raw will start the week off good for us. Any last thoughts, Dave, before we end this video and come back on Monday night?
Yes. So, I mean, if right now isn't a great time to be a wrestling fan, I don't know what is. I mean, you have every wrestling at your fingertips. I mean, from WE to WE Network, Lucha Underground, ROH, TNA now, I mean, NXT. I mean, it's really fun to be a wrestling fan right now. So if you really love wrestling, I mean, you can't say you can't see wrestling because it's everywhere.
Right. And I mean, granted, WWE in the past weeks, months, whatever have you, hasn't been the greatest. You know, a lot of repetitive stuff. But definitely after Royal Rumble is when it definitely picks up from January till April. So.
And WWE's not the only game in town. I mean, there's lots of other stuff out there.
Exactly. And there's TNA, like TNA, and there's Lucha Underground that's on Wednesday nights.
Yep, and that, if people haven't checked that out, they should check that out. I mean, that is some fun stuff to watch right there.
Yeah. There's ROH, which comes on the weekends on syndicated TV. You got New Japan Pro Wrestling, if you're into that. I mean, I would highly suggest people to watch that. I mean, because that's where you're going to get true wrestling.
Yeah, but I agree with you on there, but, I mean, if you like the lucha style, the high-flying...
Lucha Underground is definitely...
Yeah, Lucha Underground was... I watched it this past week, and the opening match was just unbelievable. I was like, wow.
Lucha Underground is different. That's all I have to say. It's a different company.
It's just straight wrestling, and that's what I like.
It's wrestling with it kind of reminds me of a soap opera that involves wrestling in it.
Yeah, because they do the whole little movie thing where the owner's trying to have the champion destroyed, and it's kind of cool, but it's kind of weird and corny. But it's also the in-ring stuff is awesome.
In-ring stuff is amazing. You got John Morrison there. Big Zeke, I believe, is in the company. So
Chavo's there.
Chavo Guerrero is there.
I think didn't someone say that Alberto's showing up there?
Who?
Alberto.
Who knows with Alberto? I mean, right now he's in ROH. Who knows what that man has on?
I thought he signed with Lucha Underground too, but
I don't know. I mean, like I said, ROH is coming here in April, and he's advertised. So
Del Rio or El Patron is gonna wrestle Christopher Daniels next week. So we get our WE versus TNA. There you go.
Right, and I mean, ROH is very fun to watch if it comes to your town. I mean, TNA too. If it comes to your town, I don't think they've done any house shows in quite some time. If they ever start doing them again, check out TNA. WWE, I'm not really sure of. I haven't really gone to a house show. My buddy Dave says they're fun, so.
Yeah, but if you're looking to get personal with the WWE, good luck. More power to you. You're more likely, if you want to go stay after and get autographs and talk to the wrestlers, you're better off going to a TNA, ROH show. More likely ROH. TNA guys are cool too, but, I mean, man, WWE, they're just worried about getting to the next show. They don't even stop or even wave half the time to two people.
True. I mean, and to WWE's credit, and I'm not trying to, defend them, but there is more people that do attend events. And with the WWE's busy ass schedule, they do a Sunday night, a Sunday house show, and then the next night they got to be in a different city for Raw. So I mean, I can understand where their mindset is, just get the match over with and let's get the hell out of here. I see what you mean by that, and I mean, TNA, I went to a house show, I had fun, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. I actually talked to AJ Styles and got his audio. I've done stuff like that where I went up to AJ and talked to him, and it was really cool. I mean, the guys at TNA were really cool. I mean, signed autographs and talked to you. I mean, it was really nice. I had one experience at a not to turn this into a longer video, but at a WWE house show, he was Daivari. He was driving Kali back then. And he's like, hey, can you sign an autograph? He's like, oh, yeah, sure. And he burns out. That's the kind of stuff we got from that.
Yeah, but, it's just your cup of tea. I mean, if you want to see, you can see whoever you want, but those are just some companies that, definitely check out Lucha Underground or ROH. They're definitely pretty good.
Yeah. These guys are going to give you more of a great show than you are going to get from not to knock the WE, but they put on great shows, but they're not going to go out and bust their ass completely on a regular house show. ROH, TNA, I assume, I don't know if Lucha does house shows, but I'm sure these guys, they'll go out there and bust their ass for a house show. WWE maybe not so much.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just it's whatever your pleasure is, whoever you like to see or whoever you want to see. That's all that matters. But yeah, we're gonna end it here. We'll be back Monday night, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central. Right after 30 minutes after Raw is over, we will be live with our live thoughts and results of Raw. So if you're interested, check us out Monday night. We'll be back, and we appreciate everybody watching this video tonight. Sorry if it went a little bit long, but it's been a while. So appreciate everybody watching. We will see you guys Monday night.